strippers of Reddit. What are some things you want people to know when going to a strip club? Don't take photos. Not even on Snapchat. First time I ever went to a strip club, this dude that was with me and the people I came with actually Snapchatted a girl on stage. Before he could even close the app, another dancer walked up and made him go through his phone and delete the video he took. Could not stop laughing while that was happening, like that is some bush league shit. She was doing him a favor. Usually it's a bouncer breathing down your neck if you do that. Don't fall in love with the girls. My friend went nuts over a very nice stripper and spent much of a small inheritance buying dances and drinks. Kept asking her out and she kept noping on it with the usual "we can't date the customers" line. He kept asking nicely. One night she must have felt sorry for him because she took him in the VIP room and sat him down. Standing in front of him with nothing on but a pair of FMPs, she told him, "Look at me. I look good enough to make a very nice living just taking my clothes off. Do you honestly think for 1 second that I don't have a boyfriend?" He was crushed. My brother used to fall for strippers all the time, to the point it became embarrassing. I tried to talk sense into him, but never had any luck. Over the course of 15 years, he actually landed one. I never heard the end of it. That is, until a couple of weeks later they got into some petty argument and she literally trashed his house and stole a bunch of stuff. I always thought that was point. Anyway, dude went on to marry a Russian mail order bride, got divorced after 7 weeks, and now lives in Thailand and has been married to a woman 20 years younger than him who he can't communicate with because she doesn't speak English. She and her entire family lives off of his income and savings. I think some guys are just like that. What sort of work did he do to afford all of these muck-ups? He'd always made a good living in computers. When he blew through all of that and filed bankruptcy for the second time, he got himself 1099 work for like $30k a year, which lets him work from home anywhere there is internet access. Cost of living in Thailand is really cheap, so he's doing great financially. Quality of living isn't great, at least not for me, but it's his life. Can you provide examples? Not trying to be a smartass, but I'm wondering what can't be fixed with money in that regard. Or is it things like lack of access to healthcare? Climate? Had a close call in Ankara, Turkey a few years back. I went to a burlesque show. The girls were mostly naked, but it was a different scene. More like a stage with 6 girls with tassels on their tits who would then mingle with the men sitting down for dinner. One of the girls noticed that I was American, and she had a very concerned look on her face, and she pulled me aside to warn me that this place isn't like the strip clubs in America. Here you are charged by the minute. And she told me about Americans who would unknowingly rack up massive bills that they could not pay, leading them to get beat up severely or worse by the bouncers. I got up and left, and in fact, I was on a timer, and it took them 5 minutes to tally up my bill, which came to more than $100, just for about 25 minutes in the club drinking 1 beer. Good story to bring up. LPT, don't ever participate in a vice activity / establishment unless you have someone experienced introducing and guiding you. If your only reference are movies and your optimism, then you're going to be in a dangerous situation. Agreed. Although scams similar to this aren't always just used in adult venues. I've been in quite a few restaurants in touristy bits of different countries where they will bring food to your table that you didn't ask for and then try and charge you a ridiculous amount for it. Usually they bring it so it looks like a side dish for the food you did order, or they will try to play it off like they are bringing you something to try because they like you so much. You mean those €50 sausages the lady tried to charge me for a piece in Munich? Were they good sausages at least? I asked for water once, and they didn't ask me if I meant still or sparkling, and they brought sparkling, and it cost like €8 or something ridiculous. Make sure you clarify you want one dance. This way they will ask if you actually want another or just dance until Visa gets a boner. This happened to me. First time at a club on my birthday. Friends wanted to get me a double dance in the VIP room and I didn't know about this. 3 songs later my friends didn't want to cover it, leaving me high and dry. Was fantastic up until that point though. Friends? I think not. Yeah, not anymore. F. I used to work at a strip club, not a dancer, and the girls would cut the strings off their tampons so it wasn't visible to the outside world. Sometimes they get lost up there and they look to one of the only sober women present to fish it out. Was always great fun. Also the girls had code words. If a guy offered to buy them a drink, if the girl ordered a vodka and lemonade, it meant they wanted water and would rather have the money from the drink given to them. At $9 each drink, the girls made a nice little sum on the side. We had envelopes for all of the girls where the money would go into. The guy thought he was buying her a drink at $9 and that's what he paid. Only he was paying it directly to her via us at the bar, and she was having a lemonade or a water. Smart on multiple levels. You save extra money and avoid getting tipsy/drunk while working, making it easy to finish your shift at full strength and get home safely. But then you get the lost tampon retrieval duty if you're not drunk, so I don't know about that. I charge $9 per tampon removal. I even wash my hands. Wow, there's a job for you in my How often does that happen? Not that often, but it's always vile when it does happen. Usually foreign object type issues are in the other hole. I know a girl who's a dancer. Her advice: don't sit up front on perv row if you're not giving the girls on stage money. Makes sense. Non-paying customers on perv row are also taking up space that paying customers could otherwise fill. From a business perspective, it's common sense. Was going to say the same thing. It's common sense. Anybody up front that's not dropping dollar bills is just cheap. They know what they're doing. Thanks. Is this an American thing? If patrons are paying the entry charge, they can sit where they like. The customer doesn't have an obligation to help anyone make money. It feels like it is. I do not know how, but the blame for having a successful business seems to always fall on the clients in the US. I have a question for the strippers of Reddit as well. If there is a strip club that has a particularly good deal on a steak and shrimp combo, is it rude of me to go only for the food? That's how my brother said he got rid of awkwardness around girls. He went to clubs and just ate a bit and sat in the back. Girls would talk to him a bit, ask if he wanted a dance. He would decline. They would sit and chat a bit, excuse themselves to do their rounds. When they did not have any other prospects, would come back to just shoot the shit until they seen new people enter or went back to the guys who said maybe later. This sounds like the best idea to get rid of your awkwardness ever. It also sounds like a good deal for the girls. To their bosses it looks like they are working a guy, but really they are getting to take a break. In Australia the girls pay a floor fee, usually $80, to work the night and keep whatever they make. So no one would care if they spent the night chilling on a couch chatting. Not like they are getting a salary. Time spent talking to the creepy dude sitting in the back is time they're not making money. This is so ironic in a thread where strippers are telling you it's all about the money and to not fall in love. This fantasy that strippers want to talk to the quiet guy just there for the food. Do you feel a need to talk with the lonely dude sitting in the back of a strip club or even a restaurant? No? Then assume strippers don't either. Depends. If someone is like a regular at a place for the food, the employees will usually shoot the shit with them. I would imagine it is no different at a strip club. Agreed. We often had a regular lunch crowd that the girls would just shot the shit with. Don't sit at front of the stage if you aren't tipping. I'm countries where there is no single dollar equivalent paper bill. There tend to be no tipping in the front unless you really want to tip a lot of cash at once. I mean, Japan for example starts their paper money at 1,000 yen, basically $10, and they have 500 yen and 100 yen coins. The last thing they want is people throwing coins on stage. We have low value bills, but there's no tipping culture in general, so anything less than $10 would come across as cheap or insulting. In Canada the smallest bills we have are 5s, so sniffers row can get expensive quick. I worked with a guy who would tear dollar bills in half and roll them up. Saved 50% on every tip, but risked getting an ass whooping. That's why they have the toonie burger. Hold the toonie in between your lips and she'll pick it up with her breasts. I talked to a Canadian stripper who said she wore boots on stage to collect the loonies and toppennies. If she's planning to do anything inverted on the pole, she sticks with just one boot. She can keep it upright. Only in Alberta do Canadians throw coins at strippers. They generally have a strong magnet on a chain that they use to pick them up after they are done dancing. In the fancy places someone else comes up and collects for them. General rules are pretty much as follows. Stay off the stage. Don't touch their money. Ask before you touch a dancer. If a bouncer tells you to do something, comply. There are lots of other rules that may or may not apply, but they will vary by establishment. If you follow those golden rules you should be okay though. This one confuses me. I went to a club in a state with strict no skin to skin touching. This is why the customers had to be in real shirts and long pants. The dancer was trying some serious acrobatic skills and asked me to hold her. My hands were planted next to my legs, so I thought this was a trick. She then kinda sighed, grabbed my arms, placed one on her ass and the other on her back, and said hold on, and she went upside down. Pretty sure my nose penetrated while she pretended she was in Australia. I thought for sure the police would be coming for me afterwards. Best dance ever. I think a better paraphrase of ask before you touch a dancer would be, don't touch a dancer without permission. If they directly ask you to touch them, it's pretty much permission, I'd say. You would be surprised. One girl grabbed my hands and put them on her hips when she danced. This was in one of the private booths. Second the song ends, this juiced up ponytail slams open the door and says hey no touching. Don't let it happen again. The girl rolled her eyes and apologized, said he was a d***. I wasn't about to argue.